Greetings, Grandfather. Now, for those of you who've experienced the initiation from last week, you may have noticed the effects afterwards. Some of you had effects for an hour or two. Others had effects for a few hours. And still others it went on kind of off and on for a while, maybe even more than a day. But by now that should have worn off pretty much. But that doesn't mean that the adaptation or the expansion in your potential to be more of yourself and to adapt to the world in ways that are more creative for you and others hasn't stuck with you. There were many purposes in the initiation, but one of them was to allow you to feel the innermost portions of yourself that have at times been repressed in the past. Not necessarily by others. Sometimes you might have held yourself back because you weren't sure what to do, what to say, how to act. This comes up for everyone. Don't feel it is only you. But you have all been born with certain talents and abilities. Sometimes it's not always obvious how to express these, given whatever culture and time and society and family, for that matter, you were born into. This does not mean that families or cultures are bad. It means that there's not always the opportunity to express all parts of you in some way that is constructive and benevolent for yourself and others. But after the initiation that you've experienced, you will probably find that many things that have been difficult for you to accomplish, even in part, will be easier to accomplish. And that some things that you thought you had known everything about will suddenly open up as if somebody literally opened up the pages of a book and said, well, what about this? And you will suddenly notice that there is more to be learned, and you will have fun learning it. Thus, the initiation is not only to provide more and be more, but also to adapt more easily to who and what you truly are. You will find also other aspects. One, and one of the most important, is that you may be able to experience more of your spiritual selves as your day-to-day selves. By this I do not mean that your life will become impractical. Rather, I mean that you will be able to have some abilities that are not always identified as human qualities. You might know and understand subtle things. You might see things that are present and that are good to see, but you haven't seen them before. You might have a greater knowledge and ability to accumulate wisdom about things that you would like to know, that you would appreciate knowing. Some of you have asked and have wanted to know, is there a better way to incorporate for a longer lasting effect the results of the initiation you've experienced, for those of you who have done that? I would say what I'd recommend is to do this hand gesture. It's a bit complicated, so I'm going to make the gesture, and any time I do this and move the hands around, it's to show you different positions, not that you are meant to move the hands around in that way. So, when I make the position I will show you, here it is. Now, I'll move this around a bit. Hopefully, you will be able to see that or get the general impression. All right? Like that. Now, what you can do once you have made that gesture, and when you do this, always ask for the most benevolent energies that are available for you to be all around you and all about you, and you start off by saying, I am asking. All right? Wait a few minutes, or for most of you, just a few seconds. All right? 20 seconds. But for those of you that feel strong energy come up, wait until it begins to pass a bit. Then make that gesture by putting your hands in that position and holding them straight out from your body, straight out from your shoulders in front of you. And just say this: adapt now, in the most benevolent way for me, my best and truest qualities that will encourage the most benevolent outcome for me in my life. You'll notice I didn't say, I am asking. In this case, it is something you've already done, and you're just requesting and, in a way, instructing and approving of your body's adaptation. So it's not an order. It's by way of your mind giving permission for your body to adapt to the full range of feeling and expression that the initiation has helped you to accomplish. All right. I hope that helps some of you. Good life.